everyone, and welcome to Mindful Mondays. Today, Brenda and I are going to be having a conversation about different things that impact our mental health.
So one of the common things that me and Jonathan were talking about earlier is stress. Now, a lot of the factors that we're going to talk about can impact our stress, but stress is a big factor. Our bodies were created to deal with like short bursts of stress. So, Jonathan, when you have an exam, you feel a bit stressed out, and then after that exam, you can feel it coming out of your body. And physiologically, that's what our bodies were created to do. We weren't meant to deal with long-term stresses for weeks, months, or years. What's a common stress that you deal with?
Definitely school-related stress. So, like we're talking about the exams, there's sometimes a lot of pressure to perform well because we know that what we do now affects us in the future. So, definitely a lot of stress related to that.
Totally. And I would imagine in grade 12, you're really thinking about the future, and that probably brings around some stress and some fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that could impact our mental health if we don't have someone to talk to or we don't have an avenue to figure out what's going on for us. Another thing that can impact our mental well-being is relationship conflict. Now, we are relational people. We live either with people or around people, and we deal with them. And those conflicts can really impact our well-being. Is there anything that you notice around your age or with our youth that could impact mental health?
Sometimes there's issues in between friends. Like sometimes, like a small example is when we have to partner up for projects or anything. Sometimes there's drama between who partners up with who.
Totally.
Sometimes it can develop into like longer fights, and sometimes there's lots of drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to school and high school, when we're having those relationship issues, it has a bigger impact on our mental well-being than possibly when we're a bit older and we have more space from those, hey?
Yeah.
Because that's a big part of your life right now.
Yeah.
Totally. Also, isolation and loneliness. So we're not meant to be living isolated. So if we are isolated and we do feel lonely, or if we don't have someone we can connect with, that could have a negative impact on our mental well-being. The opposite of that, if we do have a safe relationship, or if we don't and we find a safe relationship, even if it's a professional one, that can have a positive impact for us. Now, a big one, and we'll make another video of this another day, but just as talking about it as a factor, is when we have internal resistance to what our actual reality is. So our life is saying and doing something, there's something happening right now, but inside we're like, oh, I wish this wasn't this way. Can you think of something like that in your life?
Yeah, so right now I'm in grade 12, so sometimes like we have moments in between friends and our classes that we're having so much fun, and sometimes I wish grade 12 would never end. Because I know after grade 12 it's like the beginning of a new chapter, there's going to be new people everywhere, new things to get used to. So sometimes when we're having lots of fun with friends or anything, I feel, I wish I could do this forever.
Yeah. And I would imagine, like, do you start to feel a little bit sad or scared? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel sad to like move on.
Yeah. And change is inevitable.
Yeah.
But it's hard to sometimes accept that, and when we don't fully accept it, it can impact our mental well-being, especially if that resistance stays for a long time. A drug and alcohol use, it's super important that we understand what we're ingesting into our bodies, whether it is a prescribed medication or not. It's still important to know, what am I ingesting, the length of time that I'm ingesting, the quantity that I'm ingesting, and how that would impact not only my mental well-being, but also my physical well-being. Trauma is another thing that impacts us. Trauma is something that happens unexpectedly. We're not prepared for it. And either we don't have control over it, or we feel like we don't have control over it. And it's really important for us to know that it doesn't always have to be these big things. It's literally something that impacts our sense of safety. And that starts to impact our well-being. Grief is another one. Grief is actually a natural part of our mental health and wellness. But if it persists for a long duration and we're not able to get back into life, back into our relationships with people, back to work or school, then we definitely know that our mental well-being has been impacted by some sort of loss. Long-term physical illness, people that struggle with, let's say, a heart condition or even a physical injury or something that is enduring for a while, that obviously would impact our mental wellness in the sense that we're not able to do all the things that we want to do, or we're constantly having to deal with this other thing. Financial hardship. Now, a lot of us do struggle with having our ends meet or thinking about our future. I know, Jahat, even for yourself, even though it's not present day financial hardship, you worry about future financial hardship. And so therefore figuring out your career and everything is quite important. Anything, I mean, again, financial hardship, if it's in the present moment, would impact our sense of safety. Anything that impacts our sense of safety impacts our mental well-being. Another one is abuse. If we're dealing with any form of abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, whether it's present or past, any of these, racial abuse, abuse of power. We could be in positions where someone else has more power, or at least we feel like we have less power. That really does impact our mental well-being. And also, given that we're really talking about mental health within the South Asian community, but it could be any community really where immigration is happening. Immigration, coming into a new place, if we don't have a support system, again, that sense of safety, when we're not feeling that sense of safety and security, we're definitely going to be weighing on our mental wellness. So it's super important to take care of it and find support systems, find a place where we can be heard or somebody does want to hear what's going on for us. Can you think of anything else that might be a contributing factor? Or do you think we covered most of it?
I think we've covered most of it.
Yeah, and there's obviously going to be more, and if you know of any other contributing factors, these are just very general, please comment below and let us know, and join us again for our next week, Mindful Monday.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Hi, everyone. I want to take a moment to share one thing that helps me with my mental wellness. When I have a lot of chatter in my head or a lot of things going on, writing it out really helps. So I kind of make a little bit of a list, things that need to be done today, things that I want to have done today. And then once it's out there, I don't have as much chatter in my head. So I hope by writing some of these things down, it might help some of you. Thank you.